Welcome, my darlings, to my humble chateau. Please make yourself very comfortable. Relax your mind and release your imagination to me. I will bring you a story to entrance and entertain. Perhaps a frightening one. Perhaps a steampunk. Perhaps a bit of mythology. Anyway, sit back, enjoy, and subscribe to me. The Train of Grief by the Grey Cheshire. Slowly my eyes open, and before me I see 20 other people. Souls who decided for one reason or another to get on this last ride. Without a sound, I slid my hand into my pocket, feeling around for my comfort. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Others, well, let's just say, be glad that you don't have the urge to do this. I wrap my fingers around another smoke. I pull it out of its container, put it up to my mouth, and slip it in between my lips. My other hand already has the lighter ready to go. Inhale, count to 3, then let the smoke flow. I pull myself up out of the seat, then take another brief look around the train, still counting 20 people. I shake my head. 20 was a lot for this particular ride. I'd heard tales about this ride before. Never figured myself for one who was brave enough to try and take it, but here I was, riding the final train. Many people told me about it, mostly in the form of internet blogs. People writing about a train that came around exactly 1 minute past midnight. Having never put much into the writings of internet forums, I decided to see for myself whether that was true or not. I looked around. The people who were sitting with me did indeed seem worse for the wear in one way or another. Taking another quick drag from my cigarette, I decided to look out my window. Maybe it was just the ambience around me, but the town never looked so desolate. Many of you are probably expecting me to tell you about horrific creatures or the screams tearing into my ears, but exaggerating was never my strong suit. Instead, I see a woman about mid-20s, pink, green, and black hair, wearing a jacket clearly 2 sizes too big, and eyes that seem almost lifeless. This image was staring back at me. Certain features were made blurry, but rivulets of rain peeled off the surface of the window. My tale actually begins here. One more drag on a cigarette, hoping that it would somehow calm my nerves, which were shot. Not because of the situation I find myself in, instead because of the situation that led me to get on this train. Normal folks can't ride this train to nowhere. Instead, something has to be broken inside of you. Something irreparable. In my case, it was me. Sounds cliched, right? Oh, poor girl. You think you have it so hard. Well, I've been through worse. Look, I'm not here to compare sob stories. I'm just telling you my story. 3 days ago, I decided to end my life. 3 days ago, I got my ticket to ride this train. I could have cashed it in at any point. The ticket was printed on normal paper. The only weird thing about it was that 3 days ago, it said my ride was scheduled for tonight. Maybe the train knows when you need to ride it. I guess after swallowing a bottle of painkillers was a good decision. After the vomit and the stopping of my heart, all I needed was a good train ride. Unfortunately, my attempt proved pointless. My roommate walked in on me on the floor, called 911 and turned me over so I wouldn't choke on my own vomit. Checked for a pulse. Couldn't find one. Paramedics arrived a minute later, brought me back to life. Assholes clearly couldn't let a girl go. Now here I am, staring out at the city that is apparently as desolate as I feel my life has become. Getting tired of standing, I slide back into the seat. The little girl gets up from her seat, moves down the aisle and takes the seat across from me. She's wearing pale green pajamas, carrying a teddy bear that has clearly seen much love. I stare at her, wondering why such a cute girl was riding this train. It was then I was able to see her, really see her. She had the bruises, you know the kind I'm talking about. She never looked up at me, her eyes only briefly catching mine before darting away. "I'm Sammy, and this is my teddy. Do you know where we're going?" I shook my head. "It's fine, you know. It doesn't hurt me anymore." I get up and walk away. You never realize just how little you are until you stare down something like that. We all sit there telling ourselves that if we were confronted with abuse, we would have the answers. I told myself that lie 1,000 times. I would beat the assholes who dared hurt a little child, or who would beat a dog. Yet here I am, walking away from it, telling myself that if I witnessed it, I would stop it. But there was no hope for this child. I sit down again, a few seats away from the girl, staring out the window again, my reflection mocking me again. I see some vomit clinging to my upper lip. I wipe it away, still unaware of where this train was taking me. But at least I knew I was alive. That was good for me. I wanted to get away from the city, leave it all behind, start fresh. My old life might as well have died after the suicide attempt. The questions, the concerns, the fake friends who I would gain, who would coddle me, tell me that they were glad I was alive, how much they cared. If they really cared, where were they before my suicide attempt? A few more minutes passed. An elderly man sits in front of me, his skin barely sticking to his thin frame. "Do you want to hear about my children?" he asks, the loneliness echoing in his voice. I could feel it clinging to his words like an anchor. "I have 2 children. They used to visit me, you know. Then life caught up to 'em. My grandchildren, they visit me sometimes, but not for very long. Life moves too fast for them. Can't sit still long enough. That's what my wife told me. Children move too fast anymore. They forget about us old folks." Tears streamed down his cheeks. "That's why I'm glad I have this moment, this instant. Even minutes can change someone's life. Thank you for listening to me." And with that, he gets up, walks down the aisles, before sitting next to the little girl. He looks at her, smiles very softly before gently patting the teddy on the head. She tells him about how the teddy bear protects her, tells him how he is the strongest of all the teddies in the world, that he told her where she could hide when the scary noises came. Then, before another thing happens, I feel something pour down my cheeks. I reach up, catching a single tear on my fingertip. Why was I on this ride? My hands are now shaking as I fumble in my pockets for another cigarette. My fingers pull out another one. Again, I slip it between my mouth. The lighter once more in my hand. I light it. Shaky breaths come out between the exhales and the inhales. Not able to take the feels that were overwhelming me. I move down again, trying to avoid the two who were chatting as comfortably as old friends. Pulling the strings on my hoodie, the warmth returned to my arms. By now I tell myself that if anyone else comes to sit by me, I will jump off the train not caring what awaits me. Just as the thought cements itself in my brain, a young man sits in front of me. The man bows his head. No words come out. Maybe he just got tired of sitting by himself. Then he speaks. His voice is solemn. Do not worry. I've no tale of sorrow, nor a tale of abuse. I have a tale of regret. I've ridden this train now 4 times. Each time someone new comes along, my tale begins the moment the train inches out of its station. It ends when we reach the destination. I lived my life filled with regret. I regretted not asking that pretty girl out, who then married a rich man. The man never touched her, never told her she was loved. He said that his actions spoke enough to her. She killed herself. Living a loveless life wasn't what she wanted. He sighs before beginning again. I regret getting on this train. I regret not being able to help my parents who were struggling. They were both elderly people who felt unloved because I didn't stop by. My brother moved away, trying to outrun his own guilt. He found a woman. Always found a woman. Of course, he always found a bottle as well. Needless to say, his wife, he pointed to a woman with a hat that hid her features, found a way onto this train. Her tale will never be spoken because she dares not remember. I regret not protecting her. The funny thing about regret is that no matter how far we travel, it holds on to us. He points to the people who are riding this train. Some who ride are trying to run away. Others have already succeeded in escaping their pain. Some bring their pains with them. They weave tales of pain for the hopes that what they say will help. Others speak in ways more powerful than words. He stops there, points to me, and smiles gently. What is your fate going to be? Are you going to come back on this train, bury yourself in the pains of others? Let their tales be only cautionary, or you will find the strength in yourself. Throw your ticket away and take their tales with you, letting the weight of their struggles strengthen you beyond normal means. Throw your ticket away and take their tales with you, letting the weight of their struggles strengthen you beyond normal means. The choice is yours. Just remember, you only get one ticket. What you do with it is yours. With his final words, the train disappears. My eyes flutter open. A cold breeze blows through an opening of my hoodie. My friend comes around the corner, tears streaking down her cheek as she wraps me in a warm embrace. I was worried when the doctor said that you were running away. Using what little strength my body could muster, I push her off me. I'm sorry, Emmy. Just been a rough few days. You understand, right? Emmy shakes her head no. A smile appears on my face as I hold up my arm. Give me a hand. She wipes the snot from her nose onto the sleeve before helping me up. In my pocket, I feel the ticket. I crumple it up into a ball, then throw it into the garbage can nearby. Emmy looks at me. What was that? She stops, waiting for a reply. Just the hospital slip. Don't really want to remember my idiotic decision to end my life. What was I thinking? You'd never make it through the night without me. She only laughs through more tears, shaking her head in agreement. You're right, not even one night. You were my only real friend. I'd wind up with 1,000 cats before the night was out. We both laugh as we depart the rail station. As I look back, I see him, smiling as he stands there on the end of the train. I close my eyes and turn my back on the train. Now, here is my warning to you. Do not take this train ride lightly. Do not think it is something that you can just casually do. If you are weak, the passenger's grief will consume you completely. If you find yourself in a situation where you lose yourself to grief, do not take the ride. You may never find yourself able to leave. This train ride changed my life. I am one of the lucky few who was able to throw their ticket away. Most people who speak of the train on the forums say they kept the ticket as a memento, yet I know better. They can't let their grief go. They cling to it as they cling to their ticket. So please, dear reader, if you ever find yourself in possession of a ticket that you didn't buy, it tells you that your ride is 3 days in the future and has the timestamp of 1 minute after midnight. Throw the ticket away. Or if you are feeling curious and believe yourself able to push past your grief, then take the ride. I hope you make it back and are able to rid yourself of the ticket. I was only able to rid myself of my ticket because of my friend Emmy. Please be careful. Addendum. Dear readers, if you find yourself facing thoughts of loneliness or moments of desperation, please reach out to a friend or someone you trust. Please do not take your life. Your life is a treasure and is worth more than you can imagine. Listed below are some useful links and phone numbers. 1-800-273-8255. This is the National Suicide Hotline. It can help save someone's life. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm just an author who has lost much in my short life. Some to suicide, some to tragedy. Please, if you have someone you care about and are concerned for them, even if you do nothing more, then sit there and listen to them. You may be helping more than you know. Sorry for this rather serious story. I know it's my style to make you folks feel things, but this subject is still heavy to many and taboo for others, so I write about it with as much respect as I can manage. So quoth this raven. My darling, this is a serious issue, and one that has touched the lives of probably everyone you know, including yourselves. I add my voice to the Grey Cheshires in asking you to look out for those who are in such a situation. And if you yourself are, please reach out for help. Visit the Grey Cheshire and read their stories. Give me a like, subscribe, and if you leave a comment, I will comment back. Bye-bye, my darling.